that. And I'd like to begin by acknowledging we are grateful to be on the land of the Coast Salish people tonight in beautiful British Columbia. Cynthia asked me to introduce her this evening, and I'm delighted to be able to do so. I first met Cynthia at a Jude Neal poetry reading on beautiful Bowen Island. We instantly connected, and before we parted, I was presented with a copy of Cynthia's book of poetry, Rainforest in Russet. That evening, while reading Cynthia's poetry, I was overcome with amazing images of paintings in my mind's eye. Her use of color interwoven with the majestic imagery spoke to me as an artist. I immediately approached Cynthia to see if she would be interested in collaborating with me on a book and showing my paintings along with her poetry at different venues. Cynthia was delighted with the idea and further requested that she write additional poetry to some of my paintings that inspired her creative spirit. And so began our creative collaboration. Since working with Cynthia, I have come to appreciate how active Cynthia is in the world of creative writing. She is an accomplished writer and teacher, as well as a talented poet. Cynthia has been published and broadcasted internationally. Her poetry has appeared in numerous literary journals and anthologies on 5 continents. And she was nominated for the Pushcart Prize and the Best of the Net anthology.
Thanks so much, Julie. And thank you to everyone for coming out tonight. We're so grateful to have so much support here. And I love that all of our friends from all different places can get to meet a little bit on the net, on Zoom here. So it was really a privilege to get to write to Julie's work. And most of the art that we'll be showing tonight was by Julie, but also my next door neighbor and wonderful friend, Wendy Bolin Stevenson, who has a master's in fine arts and a PhD in curriculum studies, is also doing a collaboration with me. So near the end, we'll also see 2 of Wendy's pieces where she's got my poetry embedded and embodied in her work. So I'm going to start with this daisy, and this was a wonderful, I just love this painting. It was a wonderful story. While I was putting together my book for Silver Bow Publishing, my neighbor had given me these beautiful purple daisies as a thank you for looking after her garden. I know Janet and Bonnie Kwan Simons are 2 other people who love purple. So purple is just one of our favorite colors. And I was choosing which poems to put into the book. This is the book Rainforest in Russet. And so I had all the poems on the floor, and I was walking around the coffee table that was covered in purple daisies. And I just wrote, all these poems are petals on a purple daisy of my life. And then Julie did the painting to go with it. And so some of what we're doing, as Julie said, some of the paintings were done to poems, and some of the poems were done to paintings. So the first one was the painting done to the poem. Then we'll move on to another one I love of Julie's paintings. This was written to my really short poem, For All the Flowers. For all the flowers, there is nowhere that I need to be, only the desire to stand out in the sun. The next set of poems I'm going to write were written to the painting. This is one of Julie's beautiful paintings of Bowen called Deer Encounter. And it reminded me of both of my grandmothers, who are really still important in my memory and life. So the first poem that goes with this painting is called To Breathe All the Colors. Art is being a child, seeing the world anew, our birthright to engage gently, foliage dancing, like a Jackson Pollock design, all the colors that come on the wind, splashed across island landscapes, the promise of summer, richness to hold. And the second poem that I wrote to this painting is called The Space Between Notes. Fresh cause in morning grass, the scent of summer, my grandmother making cocoa, and walking me through forest trails. With all the time in the world, pink and white in each other's footsteps, blue and gray melted together, a deer sensing our innocence, that we're vegetarian, cautiously tasting friendship, kindred spirits in awe of creation, those beloved days of us. I thought since Jilly and I are both vegetarian, that was kind of a nice way of looking at the deer. We both have a very similar perspective. The next painting, these paintings are all so beautiful. I feel like every one is my favorite. This next painting was written, Tulips in the Snow is the name of the painting, and it was written especially to the first stanza of my poem, Dreaming with Tulips. This is Dreaming with Tulips. From a bulb inside Earth's womb, roots penetrate the soil. Luminous through snow, candescent colors overflow the boundaries of time. Tulips vibrantly answer the call. Stems grow beyond the edges of vases, curve like rivers, forge in new directions, and define for themselves who they are. Unafraid of transition, tulips allow the flow of life to turn their insides into buttercup yellow elixir, falling on fairies like a gentle halo, Ophelia's spirit risen. So you can tell that I teach Shakespeare for a living during the day, and I really wanted a better ending. And thanks everyone for the silent claps. I really wanted a better ending for Ophelia. So that was partly what inspired that poem. We're gonna go on to one of my they're all my favorite paintings by Jilly, and there's actually so much more. We wanted to just keep it down to about 20 or 25 minutes tonight, but there are many more paintings that you can check out in the links that I put in the chat room, and there are many more poems that are in my book, Rainforest and Russet, and on the net. So this is just such a beautiful painting. So this is a case where I wrote the poem to the painting. The painting is called Leafy Lane, and it's based on a lot of the hikes that Jilly and her husband took in England through leafy lanes. And then I looked at it and I thought, these gorgeous trees look like sky flowers. So I called my poem Sky Flowers. Branches mingle into sky flowers, a canopy of butterflies setting sail, the blossoming of talent from a hidden cove of ideas. The work of the trunks to manifest largely the kernel within, to dream in blends and bends of a sea green world, the magnificence and relief of standing tall. We are fluorescent fronds of tree fish swimming through phosphorescent foam to a clear path of what we deserve to be. The mysticism of color, the aura of forest made tangible. Like ancient dragonflies, the esoteric heart of the world, tasting creation, we embrace permission and freedom to go directly to where we most need and want to be. An island cocoon of love, light, and safety. In the communion of trees, we learn by steadily working, day by day, season by season, stretching branches to finally flourish, that self-actualization is for the good of all. Our growth protects others. What feels right must be. The evolution of consciousness, mirroring meditation. And then this next one is a special one. It's so nice to see all the clapping. This next one is a special one because it's a painting. So they're all special, but this one is extra special because I wrote the poem to the painting, and the poem that I wrote is based on a Jude Neal prompt. So many of you know Jude Neal, our dear friend who's here in the audience. She's a wonderful poet, and she put out a book called Impromptu in the spring, where she gave us all these ideas for writing, and they just kind of write themselves. So her prompt was, add a day to any month and tell me what you would do with it. And I thought if I had an extra day, I would go visit Jude again because it's so much fun hanging out with her. And this beautiful painting Jilly's done is of Snug Cove on Bowen Island, where you get off the ferry to go visit people. Hopefully I'm not giving away people's identities and things, but this is the boat I get to take to go visit them. And I called the poem, I named it from a line in the Bible, "To lie down in green pastures." And of course, it's dedicated to Jude Neal. That's who it's about. If I could add a free day to any month, I would give it to May so I could see you tomorrow. I would read Harry Potter all morning in bed, inscribe my dreams in its pages, then don the coral Italian silk blouse with billowing sleeves that I paid too much for, and paint my nails cherry tree floral with lime leaves because I deserve to be pretty. I would breathe spring light and wear pink petals in my hair. Let the wind weave ocean mist through my curls as I inhale the aroma of fresh sea salt, ferrying over to your love. I'd travel to friends who make me write poems, who pick me up and drop me off at the shore, and share the afternoon reciting verse on comfortable couches, who serve me white wine with homemade cauliflower soup, and invite me to peruse photo albums of opera performances, lifetimes of story, with only a labradoodle to keep time. I would taste the starlight in royal blue skies, aquamarine blossoms traveling deep in the night, and live solely on my terms. This next one, I love this too. So this painting is called Bridge to Terabithia. So the painting is named after, it was done after a book, and then I wrote a poem to the painting that Jilly did to a book. So I love the circle of inspiration. So I did 2 poems to this one. First one's quite short. I just called it, because I love how Jilly kind of paints, she paints a path toward the light. And so I called it Stay in the Light. And this is to all of you. Beautiful rendition of light, you are always allowed your center. And the next poem I did to this painting is called Emancipation. I run through redwood to rich black earth, absorbing my ashes. Rainforest, reaping sky, body in sunlight, starlight and trees growing out of me. Dawn and night, eternity in forest, cool air, ferns, cedar, home. And let's see. Since we're approaching the holiday season, I thought first snow would be a nice one. And so this is Jilly's painting First Snow, to which I wrote a poem. And there are a couple things about this that I love. I love how the trees are so delicate, both delicate and strong at the same time. They remind me of teen girls just being totally free. And it also reminds me of the sparkly hotel Christmas trees my friends David and Donald, who are in the audience, take us to look at every Christmas. They organize a whole tour where we go around and look at all the hotel Christmas trees. So this beautiful painting reminded me of both of those things. And so I called my poem to it, Sisters of the Meadow. Sparkly hotel Christmas trees, magical and raw at once. Fairy saplings in winter, persimmon and pistachio, holiday tinsel come to life. Adorn their natural environment, roots intact. Allow the depth of their beauty for its own sake. Incantations of blue in the stillness of the lake, quietly into their core. Pristine pine babies, delicate twins dancing safely. Protect the brave red fringe of wild flora, the undefined graciousness of being. And painting is from a mountain where Jilly hikes with her family. The next one is also from a hike up there. And I'm just looking for it. So I guess this was bound to happen that I would misplace the painting. I'm just looking for Black Tusk. There it is. Okay. So the next poem is written to this painting, Black Tusk, which is from a place that Jilly and her family go hiking to. And it's so beautiful. It made me wonder about the air up there and being up so high with just birds. So I wrote a poem that I also named Black Tusk. The flap of a bird's wings, a heartbeat, a breath in and out, the exhalation of nothing into universe. This next one is written to this painting called Sanctuary. And when Jilly first sent me these paintings to look at, this one enraptured me so much. I meditated in front of it for about an hour a day for a week. I just couldn't get over how beautiful it was. And I was looking in it and saw, if you look at it long enough, you can almost see hands inside. And there's so much beauty in the center here. So I just meditated in front of it for an hour a day. I couldn't get over how beautiful it was. And so I wrote at least 3 poems. I'm going to share 3 of the poems that I wrote to it. The first one is short. I called it, I didn't even title it. It's just a little haiku. Cathedral passage, archway to the eternal, the inside of light. The next poem to this is called The Temple of Trees. And these next 2, if you look for them, they're in the Miramichi Reader, which is online out of New Brunswick, which our friend Bill Arnott edits. He's the poetry editor for it. So this is The Temple of Trees. Tangerine path opens to the universe. Empyrean risen, made strong. Veins flow, leaves fall. I feel your gentle curves, embrace entropy, spread into earth, the birth canal we imagine death to be. Inside the trunk, palpable palms unveil a center of light, the paradox inside trees, a golden tunnel to the core. The moon a carriage, a whole earth in its cradle, an embryo to another world. An inverse cocoon spiraling beyond the descent back. And my next one that's also in the Miramichi Reader to this painting is called In an Evergreen Altar. Shadows won't catch you if you beam toward radiance. Stay focused and strong in the saffron night. No longer manipulated by misguided obligation to enter any darkness not meant for you. Inhale the auspicious candescence, infused with the scent of a cedar, a candle along a pomelo path to your inner child. Let the quicksand of depression dissolve on its own. Stream along starlit stones in forest soil, through blood vessel rivulets to dissolution. The return to nothing, reborn in light, arteries pulsating, universe creating, destination in sight. Flow to the heart, the inner transcendence of trees, a wrapped mummy in womb time bliss to eternity. And I had to do one more poem to this, and this one's dedicated to Jilly. This one's called Jilly. She is always painting a path toward light. Her use of color, the chakras of trees manifesting all the dimensions of forest. So, thank you so much, everyone. So this next one goes back to the poem came first, and Jilly painted. She did a couple of paintings to go with it. So this is some poppies and dragonflies in the grace of the wind, ancestral spirits call. And then I'm going to move in to a different kind of art. This is by Wendy Bowen Stevenson, and it's quite an elaborate type of art. And you might want to talk to her after in the question period while we're all available for questions and answers and discussion. She's embedded and embodied poetry into it, and she'll probably explain it better, but she's doing an art show on color. And you notice that there's a theme through the color of protecting our earth, honoring and protecting our earth. And so there are different poems of mine. There are different verses and poems of mine in this painting, in this artwork. It's more than a painting. One of them is called Light Flows. Light flows from inside, stretching around the earth, a cool stream over stones, blue water, breath of life. And another excerpt is from my poem Earth Medicine. On these rare days, when the blue in the raven's wings shines in the light, go through the open doors. So I'm going to get up another piece of Wendy's art here. I think this is it. This is another one by Wendy Bowen Stevenson. And this has been really interesting. In this one, the poem came first, and the poem is from my book, Rainforest and Russet. It's also in some of Jude Neal's books because she co-wrote it. So this is a moment for collaboration. Jude and I co-wrote a poem, and then Wendy included elements of it in her art. And then there's a piece of Jilly's art that I'm going to show for the end of the poem. So it's a lot of collaboration, which I love. So this is my closing poem for the evening. This is Rainforest and Russet. In the silence between breaths, my truth rises. I fall into the space where the forest captures light. Is this the question or the answer? To trust this journey of closure. A new opening repertoire. I dig for you in the shadows of dying gray matter, to find a slip, a morsel of foggy memory. How we set up your chessboard the night we met. We set up your chessboard the night we met. Photograph the pieces and their complicity to be art. The queens, their own fashion statement, balanced in the spotlight. Horses rode across the checkered landscape, free of battle scars or fear. Configurations came and went. We both knew the game transcended competition. Our strategy, a decades-long tango of connection. We played until slivers of dawn shone on an empty stage. Now at the threshold of rainforest in russet, ash into earth, to whatever is or isn't, I am released. And so that's the end of my poetry reading part of this. I want to thank everyone so much for coming. And you can see in the chat room, some of the poems can be found in Rainforest and Russet from Silverbow Publishing. And I also have other ones online. And you can also see, you can buy Jilly's paintings. You can also get cards of her paintings and prints. So you can check out Catching Stars Gallery from Bowen Island. They're online. And just want to thank everyone for coming.
Okay, thank you, Cynthia. That was amazing. It's very different reading your poems to having you read them yourselves in person. It was delightful. If anyone has any questions, we have many comments in the chat room, which are amazing. Thank you so much. But if anyone has any questions, you